Good afternoon, everyone. So today, we're not going to be doing any dailies today, but what we're going to be doing today is going to be doing some track experience and circuit experience for Suzuka. I've got a race in my league tomorrow, and it's Suzuka, and it's one of my not necessarily weaker tracks, but it's certainly a track that I can do with getting better at. So come along and join me for a little while on this nice chill Tuesday afternoon while we see what we can do and see if we can improve some times around the Suzuka track and see if we can get ourselves to the golds that we're looking for. As always, guys, feel free to pop any messages in the chat. I'll respond as much as I can. If you can see any mistakes that I'm making, see anywhere that I can improve, please do tell me. I'm always looking to improve, seeing where we can get some extra time. As I mention every week, I'm still quite new to sim racing on the whole, so we're trying to learn as we go along. I'm also trying to get used to the different settings on the wheel, so for the first 10 minutes maybe or so you might see me stopping and adjusting some settings just while we try and get everything working properly, because I have been having a few issues with this Thrustmaster T598 wheel. Been having some gear disconnects, been losing gear jolt, just been having some of these regular issues that everyone seems to be dealing with now. So we're just trying to figure everything out as we go and hope that I don't need to send it back to Thrustmaster. Good afternoon, guys. It's nice to see you, nice to have you with us. Oh, this is not having a very good start, is it? I need to try and figure out how my road balance needs to go as well, because I'm not as up on all the cars and everything, so I need to work everything out as we go. Please feel free to say hi in the chat. It's always good to know that there's people with me and that I'm not just talking to myself. But it's all good practice. Had to turn off the engine roar on this T598 because that appears to have been one of the problems that's been causing the gear jolt issues. Which is a bit of a shame because it's a good idea, but people seem to be thinking it's a little bit of a gimmick, which is fine, but it's only ever fine if gimmicks if they work. This means there's a little bit less immersion with it. Why I switched gears up to 4th there was absolutely no point in that. There we go, it's a little bit of an improvement already. I have been improving over the last year, or the last few months to be fair. I started off my racing gaming many years ago, playing back the original Formula 1 games on the original PlayStation, and even when you go back further than that, the very old games on the SNES, back to the very first kind of game, racing games, if you can really call them that, back all the way back on the Commodore 64, if you're old enough to remember that. If you are, don't forget to take your pain meds. I've only recently got into actual sim racing with Gran Turismo 7. I'm still on the, as you can tell, I'm on the PlayStation 5. Well, you can't really tell, but I'm on the PlayStation 5, so I do have a PC, but it is good enough to run sim racing games, but I'm happy enough with Gran Turismo 7 on the PlayStation currently. Not really good enough to even consider games like iRacing or even the Mono Ultimate. I tried playing Assetto Corsa Evo and did not go well. Let's just put it that way. It's a very tricky game to get to grips with. There we go. We're getting there. We are getting these times down slowly. So the plan for today, guys, is that we are going to try and do each sector until I can get it to gold. And then when I get it to gold, I will switch to the next sector all the way through to try and do a gold lap. Please feel free to chat and let us know how long you've been sim racing or what sort of games you enjoy playing, or just what you do in your spare time. Let's just have a bit of a chat on this Tuesday afternoon here. That was not a good start to this lap. This is not going to be a good lap at all. That was a very bad start. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the case. But, you know, not every section is going to go as well as the previous one. I tried doing 1 or 2 dailies this week so far, and with it not being as good a track for me, not doing as well as I did last week, it would appear that the combination of Watkins Glen and the hypercars seemed to be a good combination for me. I was getting some very good results until I started having issues with the wheel. It was very frustrating. I lost the win in the game because I completely lost the ability to switch up and down gears. So I'm fiddling around with some settings, and it is fully up to date. All the firmware is up to date. If it still carries on, then I will have to contact Frostmaster and then go through them and then see what we can get sorted. I have spoken to them briefly. I have mentioned about needing to keep the unit cool, but I've already connected some USB fans to the sides of it to try and keep the cooling going on that. We are slowly getting this sector time down. If I'm using the best brake balance. If you have any better ideas for the brake balance, let me know. I generally stick it towards the rear because I feel that it gives me a bit more turning. It just helps me in the corners a bit. Also, I use traction control on 2 at the moment for most vehicles. Group 4s I've got to the point where I can start to reduce it or even turn it off with some cars. I've had a couple of cars in the Group 3s that I have been able to turn it off completely as well, but not very many. I know this isn't necessarily the most riveting of content, just seeing me going backwards and forwards, doing the same sectors over and over again, but hopefully people can can see me improving and see that it doesn't really matter how good you are, you can still enjoy playing the game. That's kind of what I'm aiming to do. Just show that you can play the game however you want. You don't have to be all guns blazing, you have to be the best, like you have to be the best. You don't have to be the best, you just have to enjoy it. When you stop enjoying it, then it's time to stop playing. I have had some points where I've been tempted to just give up, but then I realised that actually, you know what, it's fun. It's just a bit of light-hearted fun. Just going to fiddle with some of my settings, see if I can try and get a little bit more feeling in the road surfaces, because I'm not really feeling anything when I'm going over corners or anything, which is one of the things I was looking for when I got this wheel, a little bit more feeling. I've come to the 598 from the Thrustmaster T248, and that was pretty good. I did enjoy that, but I thought it was time for an upgrade. But I'm actually not entirely certain how much of an upgrade it was. I think I like the idea of being able to change wheels a bit more. I have started to improve a little bit since changing it, so there is obviously some improvement. It's just not necessarily the absolute night and day difference that I was hoping for. Here's a question for everyone: what are your favourite cars? In the game or outside the game? In the game, one of my favourite cars is actually the Beetle. I really enjoy that. I think it's Group 3, I believe. It's quite fun to drive. It's not necessarily the fastest, but I do really enjoy it. I think it's a really fun little car. But then I've also really enjoyed these hypercars. The GR10 for me was the best one that I've been able to do. When we had the Le Mans races, I was using the GR10 and I was getting some very good positions. I spent a year in rank D driver rating, but over the last month since I've got this new wheel, I've actually been able to get up to driver rank C. So it's taken me a long time, but persistence paid off. Trying to get the hang of braking pressures as well. Go quiet, it's generally because I'm fiddling with some settings on my wheel, just trying to get the best out of it that I can get, see what settings I can find. Please let me know what your favourite settings are if you use the Thrustmaster T598. I found some different settings online from different people, and some of them seem to work, some of them don't. It's all kind of, I don't know whether it's just an issue with my unit. Going around corners, I don't always feel the difference in road surfaces. I don't necessarily feel where I'm losing grip. I've checked the serial number, and the serial number isn't one that's affected with the power issue, so it's not to guarantee that that's not the problem. I know it sounds like I'm bashing Thrustmaster a bit, and that isn't the intention. It's just been quite frustrating over the last couple of weeks. Because it's not an expensive piece of kit, but it's also not particularly cheap. So I was hoping to get a nice big upgrade from it, but even going over these curbs here, I'm not really feeling any real difference in the curbs. Let's try setting this to force feedback 2 on the base and see if that makes any difference. Going around these corners, not really feeling anything. It just feels a bit rather floaty, so which isn't great. I believe you're supposed to keep the force feedback sensitivity in the game at 1, just to help the game kind of change all of the detail. But let's change that a little bit and see if increasing that helps at all. Let's put the torque and the sensitivity, torque of 4, let's try that, and the sensitivity at 3. Let's see if that makes any sort of difference. Not particularly. Feels exactly the same. A little bit more feeling going over the curb. Play GT7, what wheel do you use, or do you use control pads? I started out using controllers a long time ago. I only switched over to the wheel about a year ago. That's not made any difference, so let's change that down. A little bit more on the track rather than the feeling of the wheel. It's quite an important thing. But I'm still feeling the torque when I'm going around the corners. It just, I can't really feel if I'm about to lose the back end. It either goes or it doesn't. Contact Thrustmaster and just see what they suggest, see if they recommend sending it in for repair. I am fortunate that I haven't yet sold my previous wheel, so I can continue to race if I do have to send it away. So at some point connect it back up to the computer and make sure that everything is fully working, fully up to date. Just a little bit of a shame that it just feels at the moment that it's not really doing what I was hoping it was going to do. Give it another few minutes, and then if I can't get through to gold on this one just yet, at the very least we have improved from bronze. So we'll move on to sector 2. Just see what we can do with sector 2. This is still not going to be gold, but we are getting there. We're only a 10th down, so let's give it another couple of attempts. Try bringing the brake balance forward a touch. See if it helps us slow the car down a little bit. It's going to be quite there. Oh, it's faster, but not fast enough. Hope you're all doing well today. If you're watching this later down the line, I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. What are some games that people are waiting to come out that they're really looking forward to? I've got a couple. The first one I'm particularly looking forward to is the Jedi 3 game, the Survivor series, or the Fallen Order series. There we go, 32.6. That's what we were looking for. So we'll keep the brake balance at 2 towards the back. There we go, that puts us at the top of my friends list for the circuit experience there. We're quite happy with that. I've got gold in sector 2, but let's remind ourselves where we're going and see if we can't increase that a bit. As I was saying, I'm looking forward to the last installment in the Jedi Fallen Order series. I'm currently replaying through Jedi Survivor. That didn't go well. But I'm also a big fan of the Fable series, so I'm very much looking forward to the next Fable game to be released. I play on Xbox and PlayStation. And the occasional PC game. One of my favourite games of all time has to be Baldur's Gate 3. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. Baldur's Gate 3 was just pinnacle for me, it was just fantastic. Started watching some of these online, these YouTube shows particularly. I've been watching Critical Role for a very long time. I'm a proud critter. I've also started watching the Dungeon Masters series with Neil Newborn, Deborah Wild. I could watch them all day. There we go, 12.6. That's quite happy. Doesn't improve us up the list, but I'm not too concerned about that. We're just trying to improve each sector as we go. So, here I'm looking for 12 flat. This is one of the harder corners for me in the track. It's a very, very tight hairpin bend. It's one that I've always had a lot of issues with. Well, that's an improvement, but it's not the improvement we're looking for. But it's only the first try, so we can keep going. Let's brake a little bit later. Take a little bit more off the apex, too much off the apex. That's a little bit cleaner. Is it going to be good enough? Not quite as good, but no cigar. Still 600ths down. But we are getting there, so let's see if we can do it on the third run. Is it 3? I'm not sure. I've forgotten how many we've done already. That was too much power too quick. One of the things I have noticed about improving is it's about knowing where you're making mistakes and remembering them. And that's something I've always had an issue with. It's working on improving where I'm making mistakes and remembering where I'm making mistakes. Hopefully this is a little bit different to what you would usually watch on YouTube with the different Gran Turismo streamers. Everyone seems to be wanting to do all the dailies, nothing but other than if they're doing tutorial videos, and obviously this is never going to be a tutorial or a improvement type, how to improve kind of channel. This is all going to be about us all improving together. I'd love to know what your most recent achievements are in this, or even just your most recent achievements, just whatever you do. Oh, slight improvement, not quite. Feel I'm talking too much or not enough, just let me know in the chat. I'm basically brand new to streaming. I just thought I'd give it a go and see if I could make a little channel out of it. I've made previous videos on different things, but unfortunately my brain doesn't allow me to focus on one thing for too long, whereas if I'm going to be playing this game anyway, why not stream it for people? That's a nice little improvement there. Let's see if we can make that even better. See if we can, or at the very least, see if we can do it consistently, because consistency is key in this. Close enough. Too much power too quickly there. You can see just how much time you lose when you don't get the power down correctly. Trying to work on is trail braking. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it, but it's such a difficult technique to master. I don't think anyone has truly mastered it. I'm sure there's people that have, to be fair, but it's so difficult. Quite. It's crazy how much of or how short a time frame there is between gold and bronze in this sector. Do one more attempt. Look, we've got our gold, but let's do one more attempt. This is going to be well off. This is going to be in bronze. Oh, not quite. Okay, it does put us back up the leaderboard again. Only 5/10 behind, or 5/1000ths behind #1 place. So we've got 2 more sectors to do, and then we're going for the lap attack. And then we'll see where we get to by then. This is for me, one of the trickier corners. Mixed with the elevation change and the long sweeping corner. So we're looking for a 25.8 on this one. This is definitely one of my worst corners on the track. I've still got the racing line indicator and the braking indicator on. I know it's not the best way to learn, but for the time being it's more about having fun than trying to become the absolute fastest. So my best time so far is 25.961. So we need to get to there. By another 10.5. That was so close. 800ths off. It's been a while since I've done this track experience, so you can see the improvement that I've made over that time. The fact that a lot of these I've only been able to get bronze before, but I'm now able to improve up to gold, so it is all just about practice and repetition. There we go, there's the gold we're looking for. But we're going to carry on for another couple of attempts and see if we can improve that. Or at the very least just see if we can make sure that we can get that consistently. Consistency is king. It would help if I was paying more attention to my braking points. Rather than relying on the braking indicator, which I do most of the time, which isn't particularly great, but that's what it's there for. I know some people call it cheating, but if it was cheating, the game wouldn't put it in. The referee wouldn't have it in the game. Another improvement there. Let's see where that puts us on my leaderboard. Still third, but not by much. So we're on to the final sector now. Let's see if we can improve this final sector as well. So we're looking for a 22.8. That's way too much curb there. Too much curb there as well, so let's try braking at the 100 metre rather than just before. Also see if we can take 130 off that out. We can, that's nice. There we go, that's what we were looking for. A little bit slow through the S, but that was good enough for gold. Quite a good gold at that. So let's see if we can repeat it. Braking 100. A little bit more throttle than we had before. I think this one's going to be slower. Oh. Slight improvement again. It's a fun little corner is this one. I do remember watching Formula 1 a few years ago and had seen Daniel Ricciardo making places around 130R. Now that was a sight to see. It's not a usual overtaking place there. So I'm probably a little bit slow on the throttle, but we're still gold. Okay. Now for the big one. The lap attack. I've only ever managed gold on this, bronze on this one. Let's see what we can get ourselves to. Goes nice and close, as closely as we can. Take these as smooth as possible. That's not necessarily the best around there, but we'll see where we go, where that takes us. Too much curb there. I realised that before I'd even finished turning the wheel. That's what you get for looking at your watch. Out before I'd even started the lap. Let me know, guys, what are your favourite tracks in the game? Some of the more recent additions like Gas Marino, or some of the older ones like Deep Forest. I really like Watkins Glen. I also really enjoy Big Willow as well. A lot of people don't like that one. It's quite a tricky track. I do quite like technical tracks. But then in the same vein, what are some of your least favourites? I don't really have any yet. I don't really know the game well enough to really have a least favourite track. But I do quite enjoy Suzuka as well. Too hard on the brakes going into there. There we go. And that's the goal we were looking for on our first attempt. .47.9. Okay. So now we've managed that, let's go and have a look at some dailies for a short while. See what time the next daily starts. I'm going to assume the next one is going to start at 2 o'clock for daily race C. Driver rating's taking a bit of a beating. Let's see what is the meta car for this one. The 911 GTR 992. Okay, so let's change that to that one. So where are we? There we are. That's what we're looking for, that one. So I'm just going to go for a quick comfort break while we are waiting for the entry period to start. So I will be right back. And we are back. So, let's enter this and do some qualifying laps. We're going to qualify on the mediums, do a couple of laps on the hards, and then get rid of them and swap and put the mediums back on. Because in this one we do need at least one pit stop. I'm not certain. I can't remember whether you need a tyre compound change or whether it's just a pit stop. That's not going to bode well for me. Starting by going straight into the gravel. Let's hope we can get some clean racing. We did a race last night where there was a particular driver that did nothing but ram people off, and yet somehow his sportsmanship rating wasn't hit. I don't really understand how that worked. He literally came alongside me and pushed me into a wall so that he could get past, which is not how I think it should be. This is not boding well for us. The last thing I want to be doing is decreasing my driver rating. I've spent the last few weeks increasing. Especially now I've got some dirty tyres, this isn't very helping. I do race in a league. I race with a group called ZFS. I drive for Caledonia Racing Team. I'm not their fastest driver by far. In fact, I am probably the slowest on my team. But it's all about enjoyment and having fun and improving where we can. It does mean that we do get some clean racing, some very clean racing. We have stewarding and everything, so he's at least able to get some good clean racing if I want it, rather than having to risk it in the sports mode. Let's see what we can do with this lap. Because that was not a good lap. So we're looking to improve on our 204, hopefully. Certainly won't be hard to improve on our previous lap. Very slow 214 because obviously we went off a couple of times there. This lap wasn't good enough to beat my previous. I'm looking for an improvement of around 10 seconds, or over 10 seconds, ideally. Oh, that one didn't go well at all, did it? But we'll get a few qualifying laps in at least. go flat out there. Let's bail out of this one so that we don't get a penalty. This is the one, guys. This is the one that we're going to improve on. Positive thoughts. Probably should have dropped down to second for that corner, but you know, can't do anything about it now. So forget it and move on. Not boding well for us for the race. Let's restart this. Let's see what happens if I bring the brake balance forward. Because, again, I don't really know this car very well, so I don't know whether forward or back is going to be best for the brake balance. We usually go back as a standard, but stick it to 0, I think that's keep it level. Let's try and focus a little bit. ADHD. My focus isn't always the best. I do struggle with focus and always have done. It's not stopped me from doing things. It just takes me a little bit more time to figure things out. Okay, this is a better lap so far. The brake balance at 0 here. So I think we'll keep it there for the race. It's certainly feeling better than the last couple of laps at least. Okay, let's see where this takes us. Should be an improvement. Oh yeah. About a second improvement down. Something I like to say is not practice makes perfect, but practice makes improvement. Nearly a second up on the previous lap. Just lost some time there on that corner, but let's see if we can gain that back. Feeling a bit more flurry with the brake balance set right in the centre at 0 there. So that is definitely where it needs to go. Certainly for this car. Lost half a second there somehow. Not sure how. Braking at that grey bit of tarmac right before the 50. But then we also lost some time there, some a little bit of a lapse of concentration, a little bit of lapse of focus there. Lift off, slight brake, go down because of that. Actually missed that out completely. Brake at 100. Try and smooth through these corners. Great. But better than we started at. Should get one more full lap in. Two, but we should certainly get one at the very least. But we will definitely get one. But whether I'll get a second is another question. But we'll see if we can make enough of an improvement here to make a difference. Certainly didn't lose as much there as on this lap as we did on the previous lap. That's better. That's a much smoother turn. Second up on our previous lap now. Let's just knock this up 130R. There we go, that's nice. Final set of corners. Oh, we've messed that up completely. That's a shame. That is a shame, we were doing really well there. Should get one more lap just about, as long as I keep it clean. Bearing in mind I've now got dirty tyres. So I'm not going to have as much grip as we did have. It's about taking as much corner as you can, but while leaving you enough that you don't get a penalty. Shot that a bit. Let's see if we can make up for that. With that I'm trying to get better with as well is learning track limits. Trying to use as much of the track as I can. Because that's one way to improve the speed, is by using more of the track. Done it again. And that really doesn't bode well for the race. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. That puts me right towards the back. That is not particularly where we were hoping to start. But we'll see what we can do. Our aim is 8th. That's wrong. And I think we're starting on the wrong tyres. Because I forgot to change my tyres. Which is definitely not a good start. It means we'll have to go most of the races we have. And then change them at the end. Yeah. It's not great. I'm not expecting a good result in this one, but let's see what we can do. Wish me luck, everyone. Maybe a bit quieter now that I'm in a race, just so I can try and concentrate a bit more. Ideal. Let them fight. Let everyone fight, take each other out, and then we'll see if we can get the scraps. That was very unlucky. Oh, I didn't really have a choice with that. That's not fair. Forcing another car off the track. Let me know if you think that that penalty was justified or whether that was my fault. We will definitely give that place back when it gets close enough. I don't think we're even going to have much of a choice there. There we are. Yeah, there we are. This is not my race. Much with dailies this week because I'm not expecting to enjoy most of these. Let's see if we can pick anything up from this. I highly doubt it. We're already 24 seconds back from the leader at the end of lap 1. Definitely not going to be able to get anywhere close to that. That's more than a pit stop. Still not entirely sure that that penalty was fair or warranted. Seeing the guy was spinning in front of me and I didn't have any option where I could go. lighting system in Gran Turismo just it really needs a major overhaul. Probably should have kept that in second. And that was not particularly fair or sporting. Really should give that back, but he won't. So many dirty drivers in sport mode, it's just not even funny anymore. Not even received a penalty for that. And yeah, I received a penalty for crashing into someone who was spinning into my path. Where that yellow flag was from. These guys in front of us. Let's watch him, see if he does another push to pass. No, actually clean pass there. So watch these guys take each other out. We get off because we're not paying enough attention. Give it 4 laps and then I will change onto the hards. Don't want to have the hards on for too long because they are not as fast as the mediums. It's going to put me back to the back of the pack, so we know this. Flag that can't see what's going on now. Scraps race line going off there. You're too far back to really benefit from that. Not ideal. Too much in the corner there. Slow just down on throttle and exit. Some driver rating on this. What we can do is hope that it doesn't take me too far back towards rank D. Certainly not going to be helping when I do things like that. Guys, when you go off, try and be a little bit considerate when you do come back on the track. Rather than coming back on and sitting straight back in the middle of the track, because it makes it a lot harder for everyone else. See if we can stick with these two guys in front of us. So that we can pick up when people do that. So I do still have to pit, so I'm going to pit on lap 8. start to pick up the scraps in a couple of places. We'll probably get pushed right to the back when I pit. Which is going to be on the next lap. Seconds slower than the fastest lap. That's not great for us, but could be worse, I guess. Well, it's pulling away a little bit from the person behind us. But obviously that's going to be negated when we pit. Sticking with this guy rather than losing him in the distance. As you can tell, it's still this corner that I'm struggling with though. Let's pit here. Put on the mandatory hard tyres. We don't need any fuel, we've got plenty. This is right to the back of the pit, right to the back of the grid. But never mind, it's not been a great race for us. Certainly not to the quality of the Watkins Glen and the hypercars. Let's have a bit of a Sunday drive to the finish line now, I guess. Even the 7 seconds to 15th place unless they really mess up. Likely option there is that I mess up. So that's scrubbing off a bit of speed, not too much speed there. Because you need to go off enough to be able to take that corner. supporting. Taking plenty of space. And that's why we don't quit out, because you never know what's going to happen. Probably going to lose this place back again. But let's see how he does it. Thank you for spending some part of your day with me. And remember guys, be safe, be kind, and drive clean. Take care of yourselves.